Lost in Love, a romantic adventure in the wild. Chapter 1: The Beginning. Jake and Emily set out on their backpacking trip on a beautiful summer morning. They were both excited to escape the busy city life and immerse themselves in nature. Jake had always loved hiking and camping, and Emily was excited to try something new. They had met through a mutual friend and hit it off immediately, bonding over their shared love for adventure and the outdoors. They arrived at the trailhead and began their trek into the wilderness. The air was fresh, and the scenery was breathtaking. They chatted excitedly, taking in the beautiful surroundings as they hiked deeper into the forest. As the day wore on, they started to feel the weight of their backpacks and the strain on their legs, but they kept pushing forward. As the sun began to set, they found a flat area to set up their tent. They built a fire and cooked a simple meal, sharing stories and laughing as they ate. As the night sky filled with stars, they settled into their tent, feeling content and relaxed. They were looking forward to the days ahead and the adventures that awaited them. As they drifted off to sleep, Jake and Emily felt grateful for each other's company and the opportunity to experience the beauty of the wilderness together. They were excited for what lay ahead and eager to explore the unknown. They knew that this trip would be a journey they would never forget. Chapter 2: Lost in the Wilderness. Jake and Emily woke up to a gray and cloudy morning. They packed up their tent and set out on the trail, feeling confident and ready for the day ahead. However, as the day wore on, they began to realize that they were lost. They had taken a wrong turn and were now unsure of their location. The realization hit them hard, and they started to argue, blaming each other for the mistake. Jake was frustrated with Emily for not paying attention to the map, and Emily was upset with Jake for not double-checking their route. Tension started to build between them, and they both felt the weight of their mistake. As the day dragged on, they struggled to find their way back on track. They searched for landmarks and retraced their steps, but nothing seemed familiar. Their water supply was running low, and they were getting hungry. They started to worry that they might have to spend the night in the wilderness without any supplies. As the day turned into night, they decided to set up camp in a nearby clearing. They built a fire and cooked a meager meal, trying to conserve their remaining supplies. The night was quiet, and they were both lost in their own thoughts, wondering how they had ended up in this situation. As they lay in their tent, they both felt scared and uncertain. They knew that they had to work together to find their way out of the wilderness. They apologized for their earlier argument and promised to support each other no matter what. With that, they fell asleep, hoping that tomorrow would bring new possibilities and a way out of their predicament. Lost in Love, a romantic adventure in the wild. Chapter 3: A Dangerous Encounter. The next morning, Jake and Emily woke up feeling determined to find their way out of the wilderness. They packed up their tent and started walking, hoping to find some sign of civilization. As they were walking, they heard a rustling in the bushes ahead of them. They stopped in their tracks, unsure of what was making the noise. Suddenly, a large bear emerged from the bushes, growling and snarling. Jake and Emily froze, their hearts racing with fear. The bear started to approach them, and they realized that they were in serious danger. Without thinking, Jake grabbed a large stick and brandished it at the bear, trying to scare it away. Emily backed up slowly, hoping to find a safe place to hide. The bear lunged at Jake, who managed to deflect it with the stick. Emily used the distraction to grab a can of bear spray from her backpack and sprayed it at the bear. The bear backed off, shaking its head and snarling. Jake and Emily huddled together, realizing that they had just had a close call. They were both shaking and breathing heavily, their hearts pounding with adrenaline. After a few minutes, the bear retreated back into the forest, and Jake and Emily were left alone. They looked at each other, realizing that they had just gone through a terrifying experience together. They hugged each other tightly, grateful for each other's safety and support. The experience brought them closer together, and they realized that they could rely on each other in times of danger. They continued on their journey, feeling more connected and stronger than ever before. Chapter 4: Finding Hope. Jake and Emily continued their trek through the wilderness, feeling both exhausted and exhilarated from their recent encounter with the bear. They had been walking for what seemed like hours, but they still had no idea where they were or how to get back to civilization. As they walked, they noticed a glimmer of hope in the distance. They saw a faint light and a thin trail of smoke rising from behind the trees. They picked up their pace, hoping to find someone who could help them. As they got closer, they saw a small cabin nestled among the trees. They approached cautiously, unsure of who might be inside. They knocked on the door, and after a few moments, an older man answered. He looked surprised to see them and asked what had brought them to his remote cabin. Jake and Emily explained their situation, and the man listened intently. He offered them some water and a place to rest, telling them that he could give them directions to the nearest town in the morning. They were grateful for the man's hospitality and settled in for the night, feeling relieved to have found shelter. They slept soundly, knowing that they were one step closer to safety. In the morning, the man gave them detailed directions and even offered to lend them a map. They thanked him and set out on their journey, feeling more hopeful and confident than before. They knew that they still had a long way to go, but they were filled with a renewed sense of determination and purpose. They were determined to make it back to civilization, no matter what challenges lay ahead. Lost in Love, a romantic adventure in the wild. Chapter 5: A Chance Encounter. Jake and Emily followed the directions given to them by the man at the cabin and eventually found themselves on a small dirt road. As they walked, they heard the sound of an engine in the distance. They looked up to see a truck approaching them, kicking up dust as it drove toward them. The truck slowed down as it approached, and the driver rolled down the window. It was a friendly-looking man with a big smile on his face. He asked Jake and Emily if they needed a ride, and they gladly accepted. The man introduced himself as Tom and explained that he was a local farmer. He was on his way to town to pick up some supplies and offered to drop Jake and Emily off on the way. They chatted amiably during the short ride, and Tom told them about the local area and some of the sights they might want to see. He dropped them off at the edge of town, wishing them luck on their journey. Jake and Emily were grateful for the unexpected help and felt grateful for the kindness of strangers. They explored the town for a while, picking up some supplies and enjoying a hot meal. As they were leaving the town, they noticed a small sign advertising a local festival that was happening the next day. They looked at each other, realizing that they had both been longing for some fun and excitement after their difficult journey. They decided to stay in town for the night and attend the festival the next day. They laughed and danced together, enjoying the sense of freedom and joy that came with being surrounded by happy people. As they lay in their hotel room that night, they talked about how much they had learned about each other during their adventure. They realized that they had both grown and changed, and they were excited to see where their journey would take them next. Chapter 6: A New Challenge. Jake and Emily woke up early the next morning, feeling refreshed and energized after a night of rest and fun. They packed up their belongings and hit the road, ready to continue their journey. As they walked, they noticed a signpost indicating a nearby hiking trail. They both loved the outdoors and decided to take a detour to explore the trail. They hiked for a few hours, enjoying the scenic views and fresh air. As they were walking, they heard a faint sound in the distance. They stopped to listen and realized that it was the sound of rushing water. They followed the sound to a nearby river, where they saw a group of people gathered on the banks. As they approached, they saw that the people were gathered around a kayaking competition. The contestants were navigating a series of rapids, trying to beat each other's times. Jake and Emily watched in awe, feeling inspired by the skill and bravery of the kayakers. As they were watching, they noticed a poster advertising an upcoming kayaking course for beginners. They looked at each other, realizing that they had found their next challenge. They signed up for the course, eager to learn a new skill and push their limits. The course was challenging but rewarding, and Jake and Emily quickly fell in love with the thrill of kayaking. They learned how to navigate rapids, how to read the currents, and how to work as a team to stay safe. As they completed the course, they felt a sense of pride and accomplishment. They realized that their journey had not just been about getting home, but also about discovering new passions and skills. They left the river feeling invigorated and ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. They knew that their adventure was far from over, but they were excited to face it head-on. Lost in Love, a romantic adventure in the wild. Chapter 7: A New Companion. As Jake and Emily continued on their journey, they found themselves walking through a dense forest. They were enjoying the peaceful surroundings when they heard a faint sound in the distance. They followed the sound and soon came across a small clearing. In the center of the clearing, they saw a beautiful wolf howling at the sky. Jake and Emily had always been animal lovers, and they felt drawn to the wolf's beauty and grace. They approached the wolf slowly, not wanting to scare it away. As they got closer, they saw that the wolf was injured. It had a deep gash on its leg, and it looked up at them with pleading eyes. Jake and Emily knew that they had to help the wolf. They bandaged its leg and gave it some food and water. They stayed with the wolf for a while, keeping it company and making sure that it was comfortable. As they were getting ready to leave, the wolf stood up and walked over to Jake. It nuzzled his hand and looked up at him with grateful eyes. Jake and Emily looked at each other, realizing that they had just made a new friend. They decided to take the wolf with them on their journey, knowing that they could help it heal and that it could keep them company. They named the wolf Luna and spent the next few days taking care of her. They made a makeshift leash and collar for her and bought her some food and water. Luna quickly became a loyal companion, always by their side as they walked. She was gentle and affectionate, and Jake and Emily felt grateful for her company. As they continued on their journey, they knew that they had gained something special. Luna had brought a new sense of joy and purpose to their adventure, and they were excited to see where their journey with her would take them. Chapter 8: A Dangerous Encounter. Jake, Emily, and Luna continued on their journey, enjoying each other's company and the beauty of the outdoors. They walked for several more days until they reached a rocky mountain range. As they were making their way through the mountains, they heard a loud roar in the distance. They looked up and saw a group of bears coming down the mountain toward them. Jake and Emily knew that they had to act fast to protect themselves and Luna. They quickly climbed up a nearby tree, hoping that the bears would lose interest and leave them alone. But the bears were determined, and they circled the tree, growling and clawing at the trunk. Jake and Emily tried to stay calm, but they knew that they were in danger. Just as they were starting to lose hope, they heard a new sound in the distance. It was the sound of howling, and it was getting closer. Suddenly, Luna broke free from her leash and ran towards the bears, barking and growling. The bears were taken by surprise, and they started to back away from the tree. Luna continued to bark and growl, standing her ground and protecting her new friends. The bears eventually gave up and ran back up the mountain, leaving Jake, Emily, and Luna unharmed. Jake and Emily were in awe of Luna's bravery and loyalty. They knew that they owed her their lives and that they would always be grateful for her presence on their journey. They continued on their journey, feeling a new sense of confidence and strength. They knew that they could face any challenge as long as they had each other and Luna by their side. Lost in Love, a romantic adventure in the wild. Chapter 9: A Hidden Treasure. Jake, Emily, and Luna continued on their journey, making their way through the mountains. They walked for several more days until they stumbled upon a hidden cave. They were curious and decided to explore the cave, hoping to find something interesting. As they made their way through the cave, they saw a glimmering light in the distance. As they got closer, they saw that the light was coming from a small treasure chest. Jake and Emily were excited and couldn't believe their luck. They opened the chest and found a beautiful necklace inside. The necklace was made of gold and had a shimmering diamond in the center. Jake and Emily were amazed by the necklace's beauty and wondered who it belonged to. They knew that they couldn't keep the necklace for themselves and decided to try and find its rightful owner. As they continued on their journey, they asked around and showed the necklace to everyone they met. After several days of searching, they finally found an old woman who recognized the necklace. The old woman told them that the necklace belonged to her granddaughter, who had been lost in the mountains several years ago. She had always hoped that someone would find the necklace and return it to her. Jake and Emily were happy to have found the necklace's rightful owner and returned it to the old woman. The woman was overjoyed and thanked them for their kindness. As they continued on their journey, Jake and Emily felt a sense of fulfillment and purpose. They knew that they had made a difference in someone's life and that they were leaving a positive impact on the world. They continued to explore the mountains, eager to see what other adventures awaited them. Chapter 10: A New Beginning. Jake, Emily, and Luna had been traveling for weeks, experiencing exciting adventures and forming a solid bond with each other. As they made their way through the mountains, they came across a beautiful valley filled with lush greenery and crystal-clear streams. They decided to take a break and camp in the valley, enjoying the peaceful surroundings. They spent their days exploring the valley, enjoying the beautiful scenery, and relaxing. As they sat by the stream one afternoon, Jake turned to Emily and said, "Emily, I have something to tell you." Emily looked at him, curious. "What is it, Jake?" she asked. "I know we've only been traveling together for a few weeks, but I feel like I've known you forever. I can't imagine going on this journey without you by my side. Emily, will you be my girlfriend?" Emily was surprised but also thrilled by Jake's proposal. She smiled and said, "Yes, Jake, I would love to be your girlfriend." Jake beamed with happiness, and they shared a loving embrace. Luna, who was sitting next to them, barked happily, sensing the joyous moment. From that day on, Jake and Emily continued on their journey, now as a couple, with Luna by their side. They experienced new adventures and challenges, but faced them together with love, trust, and companionship. As they approached the end of their journey, they knew that they had formed a bond that would last a lifetime. They were grateful for the experiences they had shared and the memories they had made together. Jake, Emily, and Luna's journey may have come to an end, but it marked the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. A chapter filled with love, adventure, and endless possibilities. Thank you for joining us on this journey of adventure and romance. We hope that Jake and Emily's story has inspired you to step out of your comfort zone, explore new places, and connect with others. Remember, life is not just about the destination, but about the journey and the people we meet along the way. So, let's make the most of every moment and cherish the memories we create. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories. And as always, stay curious, stay adventurous, and stay connected. Until next time, happy exploring.